Good morning, everybody. I would like to call to order the April 8th, 2025 meeting of the Santa Cruz County Board of Supervisors. Will the clerk please call roll call?
Certainly. Supervisor DeSerpa. Present. Martinez. Present. Koenig.
Here.
Cummings.
Here.
And Hernandez.
Present. Next, a moment of silence. I'd like to see if any board member would like to dedicate today's moment of silence. If not, please join me in a general moment of silence. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to ask the county CEO if there's any late additions or deletions to the regular or consent agenda today.
There is one correction to the consent agenda. On item number 22, there are additional materials. There's a revised attachment, equal employment opportunity, cultural responsiveness plan 2025-2027. Packet pages 218 through 385 are replaced. That concludes our changes.
Any board members like to remove any items from consent agenda to regular agenda? Okay, moving on. Next item.
Supervisor Hernandez. I would like to.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Which item is it?
I would like to pull item 21 for a couple of questions. Item 50. I also would like to, I don't know if this is the right time to register my no vote. I don't need to pull these items, but 16, 17, and 18, I'd like to vote no.
You can just vote no on when we come to that item.
Well, it's under consent, so I don't want to pull it.
Right.
So later or now?
You could just register your no vote when we take the roll call vote.
Great. And then item number 57.
Let me go back. 20, 50,
21.
21.
I want to pull 21 and 50. And this is just a comment on 57, which is to defer or bring back September 9th, a report on the energy storage combining district ordinance. I would actually appreciate if the board could hear a presentation from 3CE that they just gave to the Commission on the Environment. I understand it was very thorough, and I think this board needs to hear that presentation as well as our community. Thank you.
Is that today or at a further agenda?
Today, but I'm asking if we could please bring back, that doesn't need to be pulled, but in the future, bring back a presentation for the board. Thank you.
Got it. And 21 to 50, do you have questions for the board, for the staff, or is it okay?
So just to make sure, because the numbers didn't quite correspond, are you talking on
I got
50?
one number off.
Yeah, on number.
So what I have that was printed yesterday is the Tyco Fire Products LP ChemGuard. So what number is that today?
We got that.
Okay. And then the other one I wanted more of a discussion on was on the opioid hub and spoke system, state opioid response. So on my agenda, it says 50.
So we have it as 49.
49. Okay, so pull 49. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Got it. That's what a number off. So we'll put it after the consent before the regular. So that would be number.
It'll be 6.1 and 6.2.
6.1 and 6.2 and 21 and 49. Okay, moving on. I'll now turn to the public for public comment. You have 2 minutes. Please line up to speak for the dais. Thank you.
Yeah, hello. My name is James Ewing Whitman. It's quite interesting, all the various things that have been going on. I found out about I can't tell if I'm being recorded. It's okay. I'm recording it, I hope. Quite an interesting gathering around this building, about 7,000 people. People say I took 5 short videos and over a 6-minute video of some stuff that I did a voiceover on. I kind of like, I were running for as a pre-1783 United States Constitutional Republic County Sheriff, would that fly? I posted that stuff anyway because I like questions. So it's amazing what's going on. You know, I'm holding up a document from Western States Media about city managers. You know, when I politely call you 5 individuals puppets, I'm just being polite. You're controlled by corporate individuals who were not elected but chosen, and they seem to get their power a lot from corporate controlled attorneys. You know, so what's going on? There's all kinds of interesting things to talk about. You know, it seems like there's been a plaque in Minnesota that dedicated to the governor, Tim Walz. Wasn't he the vice presidential puppet candidate? Its title is Satan Has a Special Place for You. I think that's accurate. You know, I have a sense of humor, some sense. You know, what are we actually doing here? I gave the deputy in the room a copy of the Western States Media and also the Citizens Rule Book. On page 4 of this, it describes how a juror has more power than the Supreme Court and the president because you can make legislative decisions right there. A juror. Page 26 describes our Declaration of Independence, which was really a warning of some of our founding fathers were some. Is my time up already? Yes, that was too quick. Was I just given 1 minute? No, it was 2.
Good morning. My name is Pat Kittle, Santa Cruz. And as you can see by my t-shirt, I'm speaking on behalf of Palestinians. Unfortunately, these massive protests that we've been seeing recently seem to be protesting everything except the blatant full-scale genocide that the Jewish state, that's what Israel calls itself, is committing with seemingly no opposition and much assistance from both parties in the United States. It's hard to believe this is actually going on, but the world is crazy enough at this point that I guess we shouldn't be surprised. As you're protesting every other damn thing, consider protesting the biggest outrage on the planet today, and that is what the Israel lobby is getting away with. And I'll start with the Palestinians, but it certainly doesn't end there. We really ought to consider, we're losing one of our people here. He's got other things to do. Not surprising that people don't want to hear this. The Israel lobby is quite successful at censoring anything that the Israel lobby doesn't want us to know. And I think it's about time that we are right out front about that. And when we're protesting all this other stuff, think about the Palestinians as first they came for the Palestinians. Thank you.
Members of the board, my name is Rob Darrow. My pronouns are he, him, and his, and I'm chair of Santa Cruz Pride and live in Aptos. I'm here today to commend the board for an item on your consent agenda authorizing the flying of the progress flag and illuminating the exterior of the county building with rainbow lighting from May 27th to June 30th in celebration of our 50th anniversary of Santa Cruz Pride. On behalf of LGBTQ+ people, we thank the board for showing up and standing up for the LGBTQ+ culture across Santa Cruz County, especially this year. The first Santa Cruz Pride event in Santa Cruz County was in 1975. We are the third Pride event in California and the first smaller city across the nation to have a Pride event. That year, the Board of Supervisors voted 3-2 to support the first Pride week that included a picnic in San Lorenzo Park and a tug of war across the San Lorenzo River. 1977 was the first Pride parade, and the Board of Supervisors that year chose to not support Santa Cruz Pride. In the past 3 years, you, as the board, have passed many resolutions in support of Santa Cruz Pride events and have shown up for our parade and festivals, and we know you'll do the same this year. We want to just let the entire county know that everyone is welcome to be part of our Santa Cruz Pride events. And you can find all that information on our website at santacruzpride.org. You, as the board, continue to stand up for the LGBTQ plus community, including making Santa Cruz County a sanctuary city for non-binary and transgender people, and clarifying the county supports for LGBTQ plus people. Thank you for your ongoing work to make the city and county of Santa Cruz one of the most inclusive counties for LGBTQ plus people in the nation.
Hi, my name is Deanna Kendall. I'm a sexual assault forensic nurse for this county. I am here to ask that you allocate $250,000 to the Santa Cruz Sheriffs so that we can conduct domestic violence exams in Santa Cruz. Currently, we have none. I'm a little angry, I'm tired, and I'm sad. You said in 2022 that we could do these exams. We have not had any funding to roll it out. The state said they don't have funding, and we have not gotten any funding from the county. I keep asking why and why we cannot do these exams, and I keep hearing that we don't have money. I cannot accept that answer anymore. I cannot look at women who have been beaten, strangled, sexually assaulted, and tell them that we cannot do the exams. The exams are important because they help keep suspects accountable. They help prosecute, they help put them in incarceration. They are killers of women and they are killers of cops. It is proven that people who strangle have killed, the suspects who strangle are 50% accountable for killings of law enforcement in this nation. It also says the National Institute of Justice says that if you implement domestic violence exams in a county, it saves anywhere from $600,000 to $2 million annually. So to say there is no money is not an answer I can accept. Okay. I wrote with something, but I just kind of went off. I will just name Detective Elizabeth Butler, Sergeant Butch Baker, Sergeant Damon Gutzwiller, who I personally had worked with and interacted with in the emergency room as a nurse, were all killed by suspects who had a history of domestic violence. Thank you.
Good morning, board. I want to acknowledge the previous speaker and thank you for your bravery in speaking up on that topic. I'm here on a different occasion. This week, we honor National Public Health Week. My name is Emily Chung. I'm the Public Health Division Director for Health Services Agency. Thank you to Chair Hernandez for signing our proclamation honoring the 30th Annual National Public Health Week. The theme this year is It Starts Here. And we know that public health starts with each and every one of us to make a difference in our homes and our communities. It is something that we see every day in how we live our lives in Santa Cruz County. We wear our seatbelts. People get vaccinated. We brush our teeth every morning and every evening. Public health is a part of all of our lives, known or unknown, and we are really proud of how committed our community is to the health and well-being of everyone here. The heart and soul of our public health work are the people. That's the workforce in our public health division, but that also are partners in our community, the community-based organizations, nonprofits, provider community that all serve in a public health function. So my thanks to everyone who provides public health to all. We have also our HSA family has different functions in public health. I want to acknowledge our environmental health partners who protect our public health by ensuring we have safe and clean water and ensuring food safety at restaurants, just for a couple examples. Our teams are in action every day, out in the community serving. We have programs like Children Family Health, who serve almost 2,000 families last fiscal year. Our infectious disease branch investigated over 1,300 cases of communicable diseases that helped reduce impacts to our community. Those are just a couple examples. So please check out our social media this week as we talk more about public health in action. And now more than ever, we ask for your support to protect public health because it protects you. Thank you.
Good morning, board. I'm here for item 54, which is a rezoning issue. And I realize that this is put off for 2 more weeks, but I just want to be proactive with a letter and a handout to you guys here. My name is Eric Martinson. I'm co-owner of 2503 Paul Mini Avenue with the APN number 02604214. I'm here today to present a package to each supervisor related to the property at 2507 Paul Mini Avenue, APN number 02604215. First and foremost, I'd like to express my gratitude for letting me speak here today. Your time and attention is very important to us at this rezoning issue. I'd also like to take a moment to acknowledge Supervisor Manu Cohen, who graciously visited our home and observed the unique circumstances surrounding this property. Supervisor Cohen's firsthand understanding of our situation is valuable as we navigate this rezoning issue. The matter at hand requires thoughtful consideration and dialogue as it presents challenges that may not be easy or immediate solutions. With that in mind, I respectfully request the opportunity to meet with each individual in the coming days. This one-on-one meeting will provide the time and space necessary to discuss alternative solutions, share our concerns, and explore potential paths forward. I believe that through detailed conversations, we can work together to find the best resolutions for all parties involved. Once again, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I look forward to discussing the matter with each of you in a more personal setting. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Marina Fornashai. I am the co-owner of the property located at 2503 Paul Mini Avenue, adjacent to 2507, which is parcel number 02604215, and is currently proposed to be rezoned from a single family residence to accommodate 9 units under batch B of the housing element. I, of course, would like to thank Supervisor Koenig for visiting our home and reviewing the unique circumstances of the parcel. I truly appreciate the time and effort taken to understanding the site from our perspective and would like to invite all of you and any other relevant parties to visit the property as well to gain a clearer understanding of the potential implications this rezoning would have on our lives. Although the planning commissioners acknowledged the concerns regarding this particular site, they decided to move forward with the rezoning, leaving us to address any potential easement and planning issues as they arise, creating an unfair burden on us as property owners. However, you have the opportunity to vote on this matter on April 29th, and I urge you to reconsider its approval. I respectfully ask for your consideration in the voting to exclude the lot at 2507 Paul Mini Avenue from the rezoning process. A decision to preserve the current zoning would have a profound impact on our family's future. And I look forward to having the opportunity to meet with you all and discuss it further. Thank you.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Cheryl Frenzel, and I'm the Executive Director of the Diversity Center. I and my team wrote to you recently to thank you, but I wanted to come in person. Last meeting, you lifted our community, our workforce that works with immigration and LGBTQ+. And we were grateful 2 weeks ago by Supervisor Hernandez to be presented with some funding that will help lift our LGBTQ+ community. I wanted to thank you for that, but I also wanted to tell you a couple of things that you probably didn't realize you were doing. You invested in the next generation of LGBTQ+ leadership. And why I say that is because we have a lot of early career LGBTQ+ humans working in our organization, and we're giving them every opportunity to grow their leadership skills. And in this kind of
input from a group of powerful people and from the community means unbelievable amounts to their dedication and drive. You also invested in our very young clinical program. After the pandemic, we knew we had to start one. So what you allowed to have happen is our clinical supervisor is now able to bring on 3 interns. You also invested in pro-social events and opportunities for youth to gather. And what's underneath that is not just being in a space where they feel loved and accepted, but we notice that when people are able to self-express who they really are, they have less of a reason to mask. And we rarely deal with things like drug and alcohol issues at our events. So just wanted to say thank you so much.
Good morning. My name is Becky Steinbruner. I live in rural Aptos. I really want to ask Supervisor DeSerpa to reconsider your appointment of Jesse Nichols to represent the District 2 on the County Planning Commission. I know him as the Vice President of Barry Swenson Builders. I know him as the project manager of the Aptos Village project. And I know him as the one who was in charge in 2015 when Barry Swenson Builders contractor pulled out a large container from the ground and it was full of some hazardous material. I know him as the one who approved and allowed Barry Swenson Builders contractor to haul that out in the middle of the night and cover it all up. It was only discovered due to the diesel fumes that a Santa Cruz County grading inspector detected and called to the attention of the county district attorney. The district attorney prosecuted them with a minimal fine of $127,000. Jesse Nichols approved all of that. Jesse Nichols approved grading, bulldozing the world famous post office jumps at a time when a winter grading permit was required, but they had none. At a time when when the project approval conditions said no earth movement until there are permits, they had 0 permits. Jesse Nichols approved all of that. And I am not comfortable having Jesse Nichols represent the District 2 as our planning commissioner. I hope you'll reconsider. I also want to speak briefly to item what is now 55. Thank you for postponing the battery energy storage system ordinance until September 9th. Again, I ask you to pass an urgency ordinance for a moratorium on lithium batteries and to convene an expert panel to help us write this ordinance, not the industry. Thank you.
We're working on that.
Good morning. I'm Carolyn Tyler. I'm referring to item number 54, the rezoning of property in Live Oak. The one in particular is 2507 Palmini Avenue, parcel number 026042115 that the owners of the property just next door to me just spoke. I'm the owner at 2455 Palmini, and 161 feet of my property is adjacent to the driveway to access the property that's supposed to be rezoned. I plan to retire at my house. I've owned it 25 years, and this development proposed change would drastically affect my life there. There'd be additional traffic and noise. It's within 3-4 feet of my fence, whatever the property line is, as well as looking over some of my property. The 20-foot driveway at 2503 Palmini that my neighbors live at, to access the lot is a private driveway for one residential house. Easement was given by those owners of this driveway to access one other single family home. The driveway is not safe for additional foot traffic and cars. There's no other access to the lot proposed to be rezoned. There is no room for cars to pass side by side, nor people to walk, and no room for curbs and gutters to accommodate the additional traffic. Mr. Koenig was kind enough to visit my neighbors and look at the property himself. And you can see looking down the driveway that there's just not room for two cars to pass by side or people to walk safely if there's additional houses put down this driveway. In addition is that the public street we're at, we're one door from the nursing home that's on the frontage of SoCal Avenue. And there's no hardly any parking because of all the flag lots there. So we have one parking place for our house in front of our house. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Kuriani Serafina Carvajal Vega. I'm a junior at Watsonville High School, and I'm here to invite the board to save the date for March 14, 2026. I will be bringing a film called Count It Off to promote math to the community and to the youth. I am part of the Chem Club and Robotics Club at my school and Robotics Club with X Academy. I believe math is very important for the youth, and I would like for the youth and for the community to be a part of. I would like for the community to support more the youth in math. Yeah, I think that's pretty much. Thank you.
So my name is Martha Vega, and excuse me, I'm a resident. Oh, hear me. I'm a resident of Watsonville, and I'm here to speak on. I'm an advisor for the students of State Seal of Civic Engagement. She is one of the students next year. She'll be graduating from in the class of 2026, and I wanted to thank Kimberly Serpa and also Board of Supervisor Felipe Hernandez for taking the time and coming to Pajaro Valley High School and listening to the voices of our youth that were addressing various concerns from traffic safety to the homeless population and different projects that I'm sure you received some emails last week. And I wanted to thank you for taking the time, and hopefully you're able to consider them and push them forward. And I wanted to thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. If there's anyone else, please come up to dais or sit down in the front so you're ready to speak.
My name is Nina Audino. Good morning. I want to thank you for your right action in slowing down our county's adoption of a BESS ordinance, and I urge you strongly to act further to protect the best interests of your constituents, of all of us who live together in this county. Convene an impartial technical advisory committee that's not limited to the best developers' hired hands, which have prepared reports that represent the developers' best interests tied first and foremost to their business profits. We need all stakeholders, including the public, assisting with a transparent process of crafting a BESS ordinance that makes health and safety a priority for our communities and environment. We need fire experts, battery engineers, and former BESS developers on our technical advisory committee. We're dealing with an unproven new technology whose only actually proven results have been repeated malfunctions and fires. It's not enough to invoke the CEQA process. I urge you not to relegate the ways the public's best interests are represented to a 30-day EIR review window. We need experts advising transparently on more restrictive safety regulations codified by our BESS ordinance. The developers submitted reports are shortcutting safety and endangering the public. I've read all of the 1,000 plus pages. The reports claim a wildly manipulated worst case scenario of a fire limited to one rack or module in a container, 1/40th of a container. We need a BESS ordinance that requires the developer to assess the hazards of an actual worst case scenario when an entire container or several burn. The reports make no mention of hydrogen fluoride gas. We need a BESS ordinance that requires a full assessment of HF risk. We need a BESS ordinance that requires the safest threshold of offsite toxicity, which is defined as notable discomfort, irritation, but not necessarily irreversible damage, and not the second level, which is the distance threshold when irreversible or long-lasting effects happen. We need a BESS ordinance that requires the most aggressive plume modeling, which is ironically, as it turns out, Vistra's 2024 modeling, or a more restrictive one. It'll take a committee of impartial experts to take on challenges. Please consider convening one as soon as possible. Thank you so much for your time. Hi, my name is Wendy Fainer. I'm a co-owner of property 2501, which abuts the driveway that leads to the landlocked property that our neighbors spoke about. I want to stress that this is not a NIMBY issue where we understand the pressures that the county is under to identify properties that can be developed. Our issue is that this is an inappropriate property. It is landlocked. The single driveway that leads down to it is not adequate access for full development of that property. I do not believe that the actual owner of that property has ever treated it as a residential property. He has paved over almost the entire property and built a storage unit on it. My understanding, he's a developer. I believe that he knows how to manipulate and wants to use that property in a way that's not appropriate for the neighborhood. And I also would like to just note that notification of people in the neighborhood who might have been impacted by this was extremely woefully neglectful. We did not learn about it until the meeting where they were going to decide if this entire property or this entire batch of 47 properties would be moved forward. There was no chance for us to really discuss the access issues, which I believe are also safety issues for the neighborhood. And I really would like you to take a close look at this particular inappropriate property in that batch. Again, I'm completely supportive of finding other ways to build properties. We actually are going to add an ADU, or we're planning to our property because we're very supportive of adding to the housing stock here in Santa Cruz. Thank you very much.
Anyone online?
Yes, Chair. Call-in user 2, your microphone's now available.
Marilyn Garrett, I would also like to call for an urgency moratorium and or ban on siting any lithium battery storage units in our county. This is a hazardous technology from beginning to end. And why are all these storage units needed anyway? For whom? Who profits? I recently learned that AI, artificial intelligence farms, are being built, which require the need for more electricity and lithium ion battery storage sites. This is actually for surveillance and military use. We need to be protecting the public by banning these hazardous sites technology. And I recently learned this, and learning more and more. Here's an article, Emerging Hazards of Battery Energy Storage System Fires, from the University of Austin, Texas. And it says these systems are used in residential, commercial, and utility scale applications. Most of the systems consist of multiple lithium ion battery cells. Unfortunately, this is residential area too. The cells can experience thermal runaway, which causes them to release very hot, flammable, toxic gases. In large storage systems, failure of one lithium cell can cascade to include hundreds of individuals.
Betty, your microphone's now available.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. Good morning. Good morning, Board of Supervisors. Thank you so much. I got 2 minutes and I'm going to try to address this as quickly as possible. I'd like to address some concerns on item 25, which is currently on consent, and to bring it to your attention that the bill, AB 470, in the form of which I had been presenting on, has made significant and major upgrades to it due to talks that we've had with legislators, with county supervisors, public safety, and consumers. I urge the county to please take a pause before voting to act or have a statement of consent to deny this bill. On the grounds that you haven't seen everything that's in it. I haven't finished briefing all of the supervisors. I think Supervisor Cummings, I think I will be meeting with you next week. And I think that's about all I can say within this 2-minute framework. So thank you.
Call-in user 5174, your microphone's now available.
Yes, good morning. I think it's my turn, hopefully. My name is Susan Minabe. I live in La Selva Beach, and I'd like to bring to the board's attention an issue that's not all that major, but it is to our community, the issue of public parking. Our community in La Selva Beach has a park, Triangle Park, that has been recently, within the past year or less than a past year, people who feel that it's a public parking to park their vehicles for weeks at a time unattended. And I hadn't said anything until recently. I have called the Sheriff's Department and I would like to thank them. They've been very good about coming out within 24 hours. But the issue is that these individuals who have these very odd looking vehicles are parking them for weeks at a time. They leave them unattended. They're not part of the community. They're not visiting neighbors or using the park. They just need a place to warehouse their odd-looking RVs and other industrial-type looking trucks. And I'm getting concerned with the safety of the neighborhood as far as, I walk my dog 10, 11 o'clock at night. I'm not sure what their purpose is for parking there. But I would like to ask the board if there's anything that can be done for residents to make sure that vehicles aren't just being, or their neighborhood streets are not being used to warehouse commercial vehicles and people's RVs at weeks at a time. I know there's a 72-hour limit, but by the time the sheriff comes out and enforces it and communicates with these individuals, at least a week at the very least goes by. Sometimes it's been 2 and 3 weeks that these vehicles are just left unattended. I'm not sure if signs could be put out. I know we live by the coast, so there's the Coastal Commission requirements, but I do want to address the safety of our community and making sure that the park and the streets are being used for.
Call-in user 1628, your microphone's now available.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, hi, my name is Rich Buckingham. I'd again like to read from the book by Leon Canaro, Aptos resident, The Unfortunate Truth About Vaccines. Here's part 3, assumption 3. Vaccines have wiped out all major diseases. Diseases associated with poor living conditions. Below are some of these diseases associated with poor living conditions that dissipated before the advent of vaccines and antibiotics. Typhoid fever, cholera, dysentery, typhus fever, scarlet fever, tuberculosis, yellow fever. Although these deadly diseases have largely disappeared in developed countries today, they continue to be a major source of devastation in areas around the world where poor living conditions exist. In other words, the vaccines were not necessary in a lot of cases, even if they were effective in the first place. U.S. disease mortality rates. The following chart, vital statistics of the United States, maintained by the U.S. government, shows the mortality rates of these various diseases: measles, scarlet fever, typhoid, whooping cough, and diphtheria from 1900 up to the 1960s. And you can't see this chart, but it shows them decreasing rapidly with the improvement of living conditions. And I wasn't aware of some of these housing issues that were brought up, but I would like to point out that nobody seems to think about the amount of traffic on the streets. The traffic here was terrible 25 years ago, and now it's even worse. And so I think people should think about limiting growth in general, not just here, but everywhere. Because traffic is pretty intense these days. Thank you.
We have no further speakers, Chair.
Thank you. With that, I'll bring it back to the board for questions and comments. I'll start to my right with Supervisor DeSerpa. And we do have Supervisor Cummings online too, correct? Okay.
I'm sorry, what are we having questions on currently? On the items that I pulled, you mean?
Yes, you said you
Oh,
wanted
okay.
to comment on some of the
Okay, so
consent items.
now's the time.
Consent items.
Item 21.
Well, no, those will be items 6.1 and after consent. So now is comments on consent agenda.
Consent agenda.
Yeah, on any items not pulled.
Okay, thank
You said you wanted to
Sorry.
speak on.
On consent agenda, I just want to thank multiple people that I am appointing today for their interest in serving on commissions for this county, including Gerald Souza, Jeanette Lloyd-Jones, Timothy Hale, Dave Summerton, Jane Barr, Dean Cascino, and Jesse Nickel. We thank them for their interest and their service, and there are others. Regarding the item that I put on regarding landlines, I did meet with AT&T. That was AT&T on the phone who called in. I still stand by the importance of landlines in our rural community. I have a landline at my house. I have a disabled daughter. If there's an emergency, if electricity goes down, I have no other way of communicating to the outside world other than my landline. And this is the same across this community, this county, where we have people in rural areas that need to be able to communicate in an emergency. And so I'm sorry, but I'm going to stand by my support of the letter opposing Assembly Bill 470. And finally, item 49 under Health and Human Services, there's a whole report here on children's medical service budget for submission. And that's a really important service and insurance that is afforded to kids with special needs in this community. And I would like that to come back for a report at some time. So that's just a comment. And then again, item 57, I would like to ask that 3CE comes forward to present to the public that they just did to the Commission on the Environment, and to answer questions that I have and that our greater community has. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Supervisor Cummings.
Thank you, Chair. Just want to start by item number 25. I want to thank Supervisor DeSerpa for putting the item related to care of last resort on our agenda. We are going to be meeting with AT&T, but this is something that the board took up last year, and we heard extensively throughout our community that people were very upset with this. And so I'm looking forward to having our follow-up conversation regarding this, but I do know that Santa Cruz County in particular is very much opposed to removing landlines from the rural community until such a time when communication is improved in the rural area. So I just want to thank Supervisor DeSerpa for bringing this to the board's attention. Item number 36 related to the pride flag and displaying the rainbow lights on the county building. I want to thank Supervisor Martinez for bringing this forward to the board. The board's been very supportive of LGBTQ rights and demonstrating from the county's perspective that we are here to help support our LGBTQ community members, especially in such a time where their rights are under attack. And so we'll be supportive of this item as well. I think I might have the number wrong on this one, but the Children's Crisis Facility. I just wanted to acknowledge the challenges that we face to find providers to offer the many services that our community really wants to see. But I'm glad we were able to find someone, an operator to offer these services in our community. It's going to be a really big benefit. And I know a lot of people have been looking forward to this, so happy to support this item today. And then item number 55, these are road repairs to Smith Grade and Ice Cream Grade in D3. And I just want to thank our staff for all their hard work on repairing these roads. As we know, as we come under more and more storms from climate change, that making sure that our roads intact is going to be really critical. And I do also want to acknowledge, though, that with the new tariffs, it's going to be increasingly challenging to keep up with the needs of our roads just due to the increasing cost of materials. And so I'm hoping we can get innovative and really try to figure out how we're going to be able to navigate the challenging times ahead with the increasing costs around materials as it relates to the tariffs. But just want to thank staff for their hard work on this. And that concludes my comments on consent. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Martinez.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, everybody. I want to start off by thanking those who came to public comment, particularly the youth in the audience. Really appreciate you coming and love hearing from you. So thank you for all you do. I also want to recognize National Public Health Week. I truly believe that our public health providers are healthcare heroes. You're in the front lines, whether we're in the middle of a pandemic or whether we're doing the day-to-day hard work to keep our community safe. So thank you so much for all you do. You have our full support. When we get to the consent agenda, I'm going to be registering a no vote on items 16, 17, and 18. Those are the second reads on the cannabis items that we discussed extensively at the last couple of meetings. On item number 22, the Equal Employment Opportunity and Cultural Responsiveness Plan, I just really want to thank all the staff in all of the departments, as well as the commissioners who are working to help diversify our workforce. There's some really impressive progress on our goals to hiring more women and more people of color into our positions across the county. We're actually exceeding a lot of benchmarks, which was impressive to see. And I want to encourage you to keep up the good work because this is really important to ensure that our county workforce reflects the community that we're serving here locally. On item number 25, the opposition to AB 470, I want to thank Supervisor DeSerpa for bringing this letter forward. My constituents in District 5 would be heavily impacted if AT&T is allowed by the California Public Utilities Commission to be relieved of their carrier of last resort duties. We absolutely need landlines in the rural parts of the community, particularly the areas without robust cell service and broadband, which we know there's just many parts of our county that still don't have access to communication. So this is a public safety issue. This is a quality of life issue. And I will be strongly advocating to AT&T to not follow through with this action that they've been working on for a couple of years now. I also encourage any residents who are concerned about this to attend any upcoming virtual hearings that are going to be held by the CPUC on this topic. The list of meetings can be found at the PUC website, which is cpuc.ca.gov under the section called Public Participation Hearings. On item number 36, the flying of the progressive flag and building lighting for Pride, I want to start off by thanking General Services Director Michael Beaton and his team for working on this and the county staff in general for really supporting our efforts to ensure that our county is an inclusive place and is really visibly supporting our LGBTQ plus communities. As I understand it, this will be the first time that we'll be lighting up our county building in rainbow colors, which I think will be a really fun activity and event, particularly in the year that we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Pride, like the speaker previously spoke about. And so on that note, I would like to encourage everybody to save the date, as well as my fellow members of the board, for a flag raising and building lighting event on the evening of May 27th. That will coincide with the beginning of the Pride festivities for that week. So I hope to see all of you out there. There'll be more to come on that, as well as a press release coming soon. So again, that's May 27th in the evening around dusk.
And finally, on item number 47, the appointment of Dr. Sandoval. I know how critical it is to have a strong behavioral health director in this community. We have a lot of community need, as well as a lot of incredible programs that need support. And I'd like to welcome Dr. Sandoval as our new behavioral health director. Really, with so much change happening related to the field of behavioral health and Medi-Cal coverage and unmet need, we're so fortunate to have somebody of Dr. Sandoval's caliber coming to join Santa Cruz County. So good job to the HSA team for making that hire, and welcome Dr. Sandoval. That concludes my comments.
Supervisor Koenig.
Thank you, Chair. On item 25, opposing AB 470, I certainly appreciate the 2nd District colleague, Supervisor DeSerpa, for keeping an eye on this. I do feel like maybe this is a bit of a knee-jerk reaction at this point. Obviously, AT&T is going to keep coming back every year with a new bill. So I feel like, yeah, we've already expressed that we generally oppose removing service in the rural areas. Their new bill claims to make some changes to that, and that there's still amendments forthcoming. I wonder if at this point in the conversation, it wouldn't actually be more productive to suggest amendments to the bill that are sort of our baseline for any conversation going forward, right? It helps us, like, we're not going to keep having this conversation unless these conditions are met. They claim that they're trying to meet those. So I'd wonder if my Supervisor DeSerpa, who introduced this, would consider, instead of sending a letter of opposition at this point, either if you want to describe the specific amendments that would be sort of the necessary things to include in any bill, or ask AT&T to provide a presentation at a future meeting with what they think is actually better, that has met some of the concerns that we had last year, and whether there's any situation would move forward that we could see this moving forward. So you can respond now, or
I'm comfortable sending forward this letter of opposition because this is a very important item to me in this community, including in my area, well, in all of our areas, really. So I'm okay leaving it as is for now. This is legislation that's being proposed. I don't know if it'll pass or not, but I think a letter in opposition of this bill is important.
Maybe we would consider including the as currently written. Look, I have family in the rural area too that absolutely depend on their landline service. My understanding is that even though the way it's currently written, they're not under threat of losing their landline service until multiple alternatives are available, including a wireline provider. So in any case, something along those lines that would say, we're interested to see what other amendments could be included that would allay these concerns.
That would be fine.
Yes.
Thank you.
On item 36, raising the progressive flag and lighting the county building every year going forward. I certainly agree. It could be a fun event. And I just wanted to check. I see that we have Michael Beaton, our Director of General Service. I just had a couple questions I wanted to ask about this while he's coming up. Supervisor Martinez, I'm just curious, why May 27th and not June 1st for this item, or June 2nd? I know it's June 1st falls on a Sunday, so maybe.
Yeah, so typically across the nation, the month of June is Pride Month. However, here locally, we tend to have Pride kind of that first weekend in June, and the way the dates land, they are the Pride organization is celebrating Pride over those dates. So to be in partnership with our local Pride organization, I've asked to do the building lighting and the flag raising during that week that we're celebrating the 50th anniversary here locally, and then in future years through the month of June to coincide with more of the national celebration.
Right. Okay. Again, absolutely supportive of raising the flag and probably even the lights for a 50th anniversary. My concern here is that we're talking about lights for a full month, and now there's 8 heritage months in a year. So are we really talking about lighting the county building for 8 months out of the year if this is extended to, for example, February, African American History Month, March, Women's History Month, April, Arab American Heritage Month, May, there's some conflict, which is why I was asking about the date, Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, Jewish American Heritage Month, July or June, obviously LGBTQ plus Pride Month, July Disability Pride Month, September Latinx Heritage Month, and November Native American Heritage Month. Now, obviously each one of those groups would have to come up with, or any supervisor supporting them, with some kind of color scheme in support. I'm just, again, just want to make sure the policy is scalable. So have we, in the past, like when we did Operation Greenlight, Director Beaton, can you remind me, was that a whole month, or was it a day, or was it a week?
Thank you, Supervisor Mac Beaton, Director of General Services. I believe for the Operation Greenlight, it was lit green for a week period time frame.
Okay. And when we did that, and did we talk to like dark sky advocates or anyone like that? Were there any concerns about the lighting scheme impacting the river ecosystem?
No, not that we're aware of.
Okay. And do you have any sense of the costs of lighting the county building for, I mean, whatever it is, increment of time, a month or a week?
Yeah, so for if we anticipate for about a month time frame for lighting the building, the lights themselves we already own. We've never actually done a rainbow scheme, so that's going to be kind of exciting, trial and error a little bit. But we do have the lights, so they're already purchased. So we are talking about the staff time to set them up, which should be fairly minimal. And then we're talking about our electrical costs, our PG&E bill, which I don't have our cost per kilowatt this time for the full month.
Do you have any sense of like order of magnitude? Are we talking about another $10 a month? We're talking about 100, we're talking about 1,000, 10,000?
I would definitely say under $1,000 based on our current draw of the current lights that we have. I know the team, when they source them, try to find some eco lights, lights with low watt usage or lower power draw. So I don't necessarily have an estimate, but I can come back to the board with it.
Okay. So you said roughly under $1,000?
I would say under 1,000 for sure.
Okay. I mean, personally, I would feel a little more comfortable just approving the flag for sure. And I mean, maybe even the lighting for a month once, like on the 50th anniversary. Again, it's just, we're talking about now an additional $8,000 to $10,000 a month if ultimately this policy scales to accommodate every Heritage Month that we have. Anyway, that's just where I'm at with it. Those are all my questions. Thank you. And on item 47, I want to just welcome Dr. Marnie Sandoval as our new behavioral health director. She's got a really impressive resume and deep experience that I'm sure will serve Santa Cruz County well. Thanks.
Thank you, Supervisor Koenig. Just on 25, 45, and 48, I want to get clarification. So it was accepted to amend it to as this item as is, currently as is, and then we're also going to be bringing it back to the board for a presentation after they update the bill. Was that correct? I'm asking the two supervisors.
I mean, I can offer a motion. I would say, opposing AB 470 as currently written.
Okay.
So kind of leaving the opportunity for them to make further amendments that might ultimately address our concerns.
That's fine. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Then on 25, I have no comments then. 45 and 48. I want to thank staff for all their work on the stream bank stabilization funding. It's important to a lot of our districts. And also on 48, I'd like to congratulate Dr. Marnie Sandoval, our new behavioral health director. I've heard many great things about her. So congratulations, and we hope to bring you here back. We do have additional comments. I'm going to start from my left to my right with Supervisor Cummings.
Yeah, I was just going to offer up, just given the discussion, since this is a consent item, item number 25 related to the care of last resort. happy to support the motion that's on the table right now. But I was also going to say, I mean, if there's interest in kind of getting a presentation from AT&T and kind of hearing what's different between what they're offering now and what they were offering last year, and to Supervisor Koenig's point, I mean, there are opportunities for us to oppose unless amended, or support if amended, and to provide kind of what we'd want to see. I mean, because the reality is this isn't going to be approved in the next like week or two. It's going to be a month while it's still going through the Assembly and through the Senate. So I just wanted to put that out there. I was going to put it out there before kind of an agreement was made on just having the language say, oppose as written. But I do think that, if there's an opportunity to get a new presentation from AT&T, invite the community out, and then, provide direction from there, that might be another option in terms of how we move forward. Because this obviously is something of great importance, and just even given the level of discussion, it's probably something that should go on consent. But yeah, I'll leave my comments there, and we'll just see what people think about the item.
So, Supervisor DeSerpa, you had additional comments, but I wanted to get clarification. We did add for them to come back to us and present on the new bill, correct?
I think that direction was just given by
Yes.
Supervisor Koenig. I've met with AT&T and we had a lovely meeting, but I still feel like this situation
What I'm asking is
not
if they come
resolved.
back after they update their bill.
Sure.
Okay. Any additional comment?
I just have one tiny comment, and it's about Marnie Sandoval, Dr. Marnie Sandoval. I've worked with her alongside of her in Monterey County for a number of years, and I just want to welcome her also, as did the other supervisors. She's a psychologist and has excellent and deep experience in Monterey County. So thank you for your application and congratulations on your new role.
Thank you. With that, I'd like to see if the board will entertain the motion to approve consent agenda.
Sure, I'll move the consent agenda with amendment on item 25 that it's opposing AB 470 as currently written. And we want to ask AT&T to provide a presentation at a future meeting on the bill's process and any amendments. I'll include that in the motion, and if there's a second, I'll take that as affirmation.
I'll second.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we have additional language with the item 25, but we're going to vote on it on consent. And then we have the entire consent agenda, if we can move forward with that. I know
as I heard the motion, it was to approve the consent agenda with additional direction on item 25.
Yes.
And that was seconded.
And of course, acknowledging the items that were pulled, are not included in that.
Yeah. So at this point, we'd take a vote on the entire consent agenda.
Okay.
And I believe that there were going to be no votes recorded.
The entire agenda, minus your registered vote no on 1516.
I'm going to say that.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
We're ready for a vote.
Yes.
Okay. Supervisor Koenig.
Aye.
Cummings.
Aye.
DeSerpa.
Aye.
Martinez.
Oh, I thought I already did that. Please note my no votes on item 16, 17, and 18. Thank you.
Martinez.
I vote aye with no votes on 16, 17, and 18.
And Hernandez.
Aye. Motion passes with no votes on 16, 17, 18 by Supervisor DeSerpa and Supervisor Martinez. So next on the regular agenda, first I want to note there is an item that we have at 10:45 that is scheduled. So we'll move to item 6.1, which was 21 before. Supervisor DeSerpa.
Thank you. I don't know. Do we have, we have staff coming forward on this one. So this is item 21, authorizing the Director of General Services to file claim forms to participate in a settlement of multi-district litigation against Tyco Fire Products LP, ChemGuard Incorporated, and BASF Corporation, and execute releases of claims against the defendants. So I would just like a little history and background on what this is, and I have additional questions. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Michael Beaton, Director of General Services for the County of Santa Cruz. Is that better? Thank you. To kind of give a little bit of background about the item in front of you today, it is to join a class action lawsuit against two manufacturers of PFAS. On the slide deck that we present today, PFAS is known as a forever chemical. It is not man-made, it is manufactured. It is a chemical that does not break down in the environment, so that's what they consider a forever chemical. The slide that the presentation that we're going to present today is kind of give a little bit of a background about PFAS and how it is locally prevalent and how it is in our current water well that currently is at our Roundtree Correctional Facility, and our potential recommendation for today. PFAS is kind of everywhere. It is in our nonstick cookware, rainproof gear, whether it be Gore-Tex shoes, furniture. It's even found in our fast food packaging that it's currently manufactured, firefighting foam, pesticides, herbicides. So it does hit our agricultural industry. Paints have PFAS in it. It is pretty much a prevalent manufacturing tool for waterproofing and firefighting foam apparatus. I apologize for the slide here. It's kind of blurry a little bit, but this kind of talks about the ecosystem on how PFAS, even though it is in the air that we breathe, it is not necessarily the impacts for the human body ends up being in the groundwater drinking component of it. And this slide just kind of identifies that PFAS basically comes from everywhere. It comes from the residential homes, comes from the soil farmland that use potentially water, wastewater treatment facilities, our landfill, the manufacturing sites, and the discharge from those manufacturing sites. On a statewide level, so PFAS has been found to potentially cause cancer, low birth weights. In the audience today, we also have Dr. Lisa Hernandez, who can probably speak a little bit more about the health effects of what PFAS does. On a state level, because it is in the packaging materials that we have, the state has passed two legislative items that we're aware of to limit the packaging materials that is basically found in our consumer products on a statewide level. When you talk about locally, what this slide represents is our current public water drinking wells within our county of Santa Cruz. This is just our water drinking wells. This is not groundwater sourced inlets. Anywhere where you see a little raindrop on the slide is a location where PFAS has been detected. PFAS or PFOA have been detected in some sort of level throughout our community. So as you can see, it's pretty much at every single location that we have throughout our county. Not every single location, I shouldn't say that. A lot of the bigger jurisdictions, such as Watsonville, SoCal Water, Santa Cruz, they do filter the water to filter out PFAS and PFOA. Where we have a small water district, such as the one we have at our Roundtree, where we don't currently have a filtration system. We do treat it, but is not necessarily filtered to eliminate PFAS and PFOA. This currently identifies the state levels that is acceptable for our current drinking water throughout our county. The 4 PFAS constituents that are identified on the board here basically identifies the current state standards. One is a notification level. So any water drinking source that currently meets the level identified on the presentation is required to notify those that might be potentially drinking the water that the water has a detectable level of PFAS or PFOA. Once that water level does rise above a response level, the jurisdiction or local public waterway is required to actually do something about it. And that's either to source additional water, put it in a filtration system, or continue with the notification protocol. The chart below, which identifies what our current water well levels are at our Roundtree Correctional Facility, The two highlighted in yellow are basically two of the PFAS constituents that do rise to the level of requiring notification. We do notify on a quarterly basis the Roundtree Correctional Facility and the other recipients of our water coming from our Roundtree water well. Yeah. However, in 2029, the EPA has developed a new standard that has been approved. The 2029 standard does lower the current level of PFAS that is allowable in public water systems throughout this United States. With the new EPA standards, we believe that our current water well will not meet the EPA standards. The class action suits have been waged against four of the main manufacturers of PFAS, 3M, DuPont, Tyco, and BASF. The item being recommended today is for us to join a class action lawsuit for our Roundtree Correctional Facility for the Tyco and BASF corporations. We'll be returning later in the year to join the class action lawsuits against 3M and DuPont with our claim forms not due for those two until I think it was January of 2026. So we will be returning to the board to request joining those class action lawsuits. So in anticipation of the new EPA standard, the County of Santa Cruz applied for and was awarded a grant of $800,000 by the Regional Water Management Foundation to install a new filtration system at our Roundtree Correctional Facility. The board has already approved the acceptance of the grant and has already appropriated the funding for the project, and the project is currently underway. The project is to do a feasibility study of our Roundtree Correctional Facility, looking at whether it would make sense to drill another well, whether it makes sense to install a ion exchange water treatment system, and to further conduct a feasibility study on a second location in case as a backup component. With this new filtration system, it will basically, I don't want to say eliminate PFAS, but it will significantly lower the PFAS levels and PFOA levels at the Roundtree Correctional Facility to meet the EPA standard that takes effect in 2029. So with that the item today is really to one step forward for the county to go against the manufacturers of this forever chemical, and what's being recommended today is to join the class action against Tyco and BASF. And today happens to be the deadline for our submission.
Any further questions from the board?
Thank you for that background. My hope in bringing this forward is so that the public could hear what this was all about. And it's interesting that it's not potentially just in Roundtree with the EPA dropping the levels, that we maybe have this problem in many places around the county. And so I don't know if we want to bring back another presentation in the future about other wells that might be contaminated and what it is we'll do about that to keep our public safe.
Thank you, Supervisor. I'm not sure General Services would be the appropriate department to do that. I know that we have other departments in the county that act not as a regulatory, but are aware of the other ecosystems. So I'll have to defer over to the CO's office about potential options.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, we can have environmental health come back at a future meeting if you would like a presentation on this.
Thank you, because I think this is going to be important for public health, as well as there will be probably large costs associated with this countywide. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. If there's no more comment, I'd like
Just a couple questions. Thank you for the presentation. I also had some questions about this one. And it more is just about the ongoing public health impact to the folks at Roundtree. Are there any things that we should be thinking about or mitigating today? And is there any potential liability to the county for having, inmates there and also this level of water?
Yeah, thank you. So for liability, I'll have to refer over to council for potential guidance. But based on the current California guidelines and standards, the water that we currently have at the Roundtree Water Well is acceptable for drinking. It does meet, it is well below the current levels that the state has identified as acceptable drinking water.
As far as we're aware, it's acceptable for drinking, and so we don't have concerns about liability issues. And we're not aware of anyone who's suffered damages or is at risk of suffering damages associated with the levels.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll take it out to the public, see if anyone in the public would like to address us on this issue.
Supervisor DeSerpa, thank you for pulling this. Thank you. My name is Becky Steinbruner. I attend the Santa Cruz County Water Advisory Commissions regularly, and Mr. Beaton did a presentation to that commission about this issue that caused that commission to recommend to your board that the county provide bottled water to the inmates and staff at Roundtree. Your board didn't accept that. I ask you again, please do provide bottled water to the inmates and staff at Roundtree. Maybe there is a notification, but do the inmates understand that? Do they know? Do they agree? If the level of hazard is enough that after long discussions at the state level, they are finally going to lower it in 2029, doesn't that tell you something? To be notified means there's a problem. They want you to know about it. But yet these people at Roundtree have no choice. So please provide bottled water until immediately for those inmates and staff. Litigation takes a very long time. We know that. And there's no reason not to provide bottled water now. I also want to point out that the Buena Vista migrant camp next door, which is managed oddly by Stanislaus County, also has some of the highest PFAS levels in the county in this area. We need to be helping them as well, and the apartments next door, Alta Tierra, because they're on the same area, the same well, perhaps. So we need to address this now with bottled water and a better level of noticing, certainly for the Buena Vista migrant camp and the Alta Tierra apartment. I'm glad you got the grant, and I'm glad it's underway, but we need to.
Anyone online?
Yes, Chair. Call-in user 2, your microphone's now available.
Marilyn Garrett, thank you so much for putting this item on the regular agenda for discussion. This is a very serious issue. I remember a bumper sticker, pollution is somebody's profit. And for sure, 3M, DuPont, and Tyco are making lots of profit. This, it begs the question, why is this allowed? We need to have whatever procedures take place or projects that they are proven safe, not toxic, not to harm the public or the environment before being approved. Doing something after the fact, the contaminants are all out there. You do what you can, but the most effective way to stop poisoning is to prevent it in the first place, like with the lithium battery sites or anything else. And thank you, Becky, for your suggestions of the bottled water. I think that's important. And for the migrant camp out there, there's no safe amount of PFAS. And it is misleading to make it look like below a certain level it's okay. It's not. poisons are poison, they're long-term effects. These corporations, I think, should have their corporate charters
Thank you.
revoked.
We have no further speakers, Chair.
With that, I'll bring it back to the board to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve this item. And good luck getting that in today, 5 days in.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. If we can have a roll call vote.
Supervisor Koenig,
Aye.
Cummings,
Aye.
Martinez. Aye. DeSerpa.
Aye.
Hernandez.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Next, we got item number, well, I guess it was 50 on my old agenda, 49 on my new agenda I just got. So 49.
6.2.
6.2, yes, 6.2.
Good morning, board. You sit this down here. Apology. For the record, Monica Morales.
Good morning. I'm Amy Peeler, Chief of Clinic Services.
So I know you guys wanted a little bit of background, so I'll just spend a few minutes and really provide more time for Amy to talk about the great work that's happening in our different clinics throughout the county. So just a quick reminder, a snapshot on, the issue that we've been confronting for years when it comes to opioid overdose deaths. Just in 2024, we had 84 deaths in our county from opioid use. And between 2022 and 24, we had 244 deaths. I just want us to really take some time to think about that for such a sure. 86 deaths in 2024, 244 deaths between 22 and 24. We're a very small county, and to have this level of deaths is really unfortunate and devastating. We actually rank very high in this state. Let me share a little bit more. Out of those deaths, we're noticing that men have the death rate 2 times higher than women. And people between the ages of 25 and 55 are experiencing higher deaths as well due to opioid overdose. Lately in the data, we've seen that the Latino population is becoming more impacted. In 2023, the death rate for Latinos exceeded the death rate for white men or white folks for the most part, which is changing, right? And unfortunately, about 34% of folks that overdose were people experiencing homelessness. So just help you kind of really think about what the target population is as we're becoming more aware of the data. So this has become a priority for Health Services Agency over our past 2 fiscal years. We actually have it as part of our budget priorities. We have various efforts throughout HSA department and across multiple programs. I'll just highlight a few. We do have an opioid misuse prevention initiative, and that's internal coordination between the CEO's office, the sheriff's office, human services, public defenders, just to name a few. Our 3 priorities is really strengthening our data coordination. Believe it or not, it took a long time for us to compile data and share this for you. Hopefully everything's okay outside. We also are trying to educate young families and youth around the impacts of opioids and really trying to streamline the systems between, for example, law enforcement and county services and CBO services. So those are the key efforts. You have heard of our syringe exchange program. You will have a full report on that program coming to you next at the next meeting. So I'm not going to dive into a lot of detail there. And one that we're very excited right now because it brings resources is our opioid settlement funding. So I'll give you a brief history on that. In 2018, the county filed a lawsuit against opioid distributors. And in 2022, after ongoing litigation, the county received its first payment. And we will average about $1.2 million dollars annually in opioid settlement dollars coming to our county. We're using the funding to move through a lot of our awareness, treatment, and residential services. So for example, in 2024, we awarded about $900,000 and community grants to just continue the work that we're doing. We hope to continue that effort. We will, is our understanding, according to the lawsuits, be provided about 16 years of funding and averaging about 1 million every year. In terms of treatment services, the county has our substance use program under our behavioral health division. We provide services to the Medi-Cal population. And we do work with various organizations, including Janus and Encompass and New Life and PVPSA to do the screening for folks that might need treatment services. And we also have about 96 beds in our county to provide, treatment. And this includes partnerships with Encompass, Janus, and New Life, just to name a few. I will note, though, that we still have to send our youth out of county to receive services when it comes to substance use and addiction. So that's a quick summary for you. I do want to provide Amy some time to talk specifically about the grant that was in your packet. Go ahead.
Thank you, Director Morales. Thank you, Supervisor DeSerpa, for pulling this item. It is a topic that I'm very passionate about. I'm very angry that we have this epidemic and need these services, but that's where we are. So this specific grant for this item this is our fourth round of funding through the SOAR program through the Department of Healthcare Services. And how we spend this money is on staffing so that we can provide the services to our community. So some of the services we're providing are shared medical appointments for people who are in our medication-assisted treatment program. And in the last 5 years, this program has had to expand because the demand is incredible. And as an example of how serious this demand is, our Homeless Persons Health Project moved back to their home building on Coral Street in March. And in the 5 weeks that they've been back on Coral Street, they have responded to 7 overdoses. So those are 7 lives saved by our staff. And our charge as a federally qualified health center is generally in the realm of primary care, but now our staff are first responders to deaths happening right in front of them that they're reviving. So that's how we spend this money. We spend this money on shared medical visits, like I said, for people who are ready to make a change in their lives and attend our medication-assisted treatment programs and group visits. And so we have between 16 and 18 of those per week at all of our health centers, both here in Santa Cruz and our health centers in Watsonville. And we also offer them in a bilingual and also Spanish speaking only. We also offer services at Juvenile Hall, where we provide the medical care for the youth that are at Juvenile Hall. We hand out lots of Narcan, 8,000 to 10,000 packets a year. And we also do an incredible amount of case management with the folks who are working to recover from their addiction. And so that in 2024 alone, we did almost 6,500 case management services. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Are there any further questions or comments from the board?
I have a couple. Do we need to go to public comment now?
Questions or comments? We're not making a motion yet.
So in these types of agenda items are so important for this board to hear that I don't want these types of things in the future buried under consent. These are things that need to be in our regular agenda. 244 people died in our community from 22 to 24. That's a tremendous amount of lives lost. We've been working on this issue as a community, as a region, really, for a few years. I don't expect you to have the answers to this today, but in the future, it'd be great to hear about our efforts working with DOJ, working regionally, getting the hub and spoke grant. Are these efforts helping? maybe you know that now and can answer it, but it's okay with me. I don't need to spend a lot of time on this issue because it was in consent. So I know you're not really prepared today, but it would be great to actually look at data over time to see how we're doing and what, if there's anything that can be changed. There's also a number of commercial like Dignity Health, PAMF, Kaiser that offer medication assisted treatment. Are there specific doctors there? Are they all offering it now? Do we have injectables? Is the ER bridging? I'd like a more comprehensive report back on this issue. Thank you very much for being willing to come up.
Thank you, Supervisor Martinez.
Yeah, less questions, but more comments, which is, I want to start off just by thanking you for the lives that you're saving and for being there in the face of what really is an epidemic, right? We were talking about this before the COVID pandemic as like the next big epidemic, which was the opioid epidemic. And then, of course, everybody was pulled in a different direction when COVID happened. However, folks, it tended to rely more on their addictions and lean into their addictions during that time through social isolation and so many other reasons that we're seeing this increase, particularly among our Latinx community, and recognizing that while, the vast majority of overdoses are, or, a huge number are from the unhoused population, that addiction does cross all populations, and we're seeing it more and more. And so I want to thank you for your hard work, and would love to hear more about how the board can support these efforts and the efforts that you're doing both, here in the county and then also with our CBOs and other organizations who are partnering with you to deliver these critical services. So thank you for the report.
Thank you. With that, we'll take it out to the public. See if there's any comments on this item.
Thank you, Becky Steinbruner. Thank you once again, Supervisor DeSerpa, for pulling this item off the consent agenda too. And I agree that it does not belong there. And I want to thank you for asking for a report of effectiveness of spending $1 million a year in this county for the next 15 years. We need that data to be able to better construct how we will use $1 million a year for the next 15 years and make a difference. Thank you. The taxpayers, thank you. I want to say that I also think we need to parse this out from fentanyl, because that's been another big cause of death, and maybe the two are intertwined. So I think we need data about that as well, if it is intertwined. Finally, I want to ask again that this county embark upon a pilot program using ibogaine, which is a plant that has been used with great effectiveness in Europe and Africa, treating addiction in general, but especially opioids. There's no reason why we can't try this here. It is effective and long-lasting. And I think we need to give that a try here in Santa Cruz County, ibogaine. Thank you.
Hello, Portia Raymer here. As you move forward in producing things to help prevent deaths and so forth with any sort of opiate I would just like you to not leave out the accidental humans that this sometimes happen to, such as our first responders, our tow truck drivers even have had problems with that. I know for a fact there's been a few that within the last year have had to be hospitalized, and certainly healthcare workers and so on and so forth. Thank you.
Anyone online?
I see no speakers online, Chair.
With that, I'll bring it back, and I see Justin has his hands up. Supervisor Cummings?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank staff for their ongoing work on this issue and for your work securing funds that really help us to provide the necessary work needed to help people who are overcoming addiction. And I did want to say to Ms. Steinbrenner's point that fentanyl is a synthetic opioid. And so, yes, it fits within the category in terms of the types of services that these funds are going to go towards to providing the necessary support to get people off of these drugs. And my hope is that as we continue to, be negatively impacted by the current federal administration as it relates to people's insecurity around leaving their homes, job security, that we're able to provide folks with the support they need so that they don't kind of spiral into patterns of addiction, as was pointed out by Supervisor Martinez during the 2020 pandemic. And so with that, I'm happy to move the staff recommendation on this item.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, a motion from Supervisor Cummings, a second from Supervisor Koenig. Can we take roll call?
Supervisor DeSerpa.
Aye.
Martinez. Aye. Koenig.
Aye.
Cummings.
Aye.
Hernandez.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. So we got about 15 minutes. I think we will read item 7. So the next agenda item is 7. Consider the selection of Mary Tartaro as a public artist for the Ben Lomond Transfer Station Public Art Project and adopt a resolution accepting unanticipation revenue in the amount of $114,500 and all related actions. I'll turn it over to Kathy DeWild, our Arts Program Coordinator, and Karen Krosolowitz, Arts Commissioner, and Mary Tartaro, the artist, for the presentation. Thank you.
Is this on? It is. Good morning, Chair Hernandez and members of the board. I am Kathy DeWild, County Arts Program Coordinator. And your board previously approved the inclusion of a public art component for the Ben Lomond Transfer Station. In September of 2023, that's a while ago, a selection panel was formed and a call to artists circulated for the creation of an original public artwork for the facility. It is now my pleasure to introduce Arts Commissioner Karen Krosolowitz, who will tell you a little bit about the selection process. Thanks. Thank you, Kathy. Good morning, supervisors. I'm Karen Krosolowitz. I serve on the County Arts Commission in District 1. On behalf of the Arts Commission, I am very pleased to recommend for your approval today a public art proposal for the Ben Lomond Transfer Station. The art selection panel comprised of community members, professional artists, county arts commissioners, and a representative of the involved department met to review the artist proposals, which were numerous. 2 artists were selected to interview with the panel in late 2023. The artists were asked to provide detailed drawings and a maquette to further define their project proposal. After much thoughtful discussion and excited deliberation, the panel chose Mary Tartaro to continue in the selection process. At the November 2023 meeting of the Arts Commission, the panel's decision was reviewed and discussed. The vote was unanimous in recommending that your board approve the selection of Mary Tartaro as the public artist for the transfer station. So I'd now like to introduce Mary Tartaro, who has brought a beautiful mock-up with her. I would encourage you to step closer and look more thoughtfully at this art piece.
Be careful.
All right. Good morning. I want to thank all of you for the opportunity to share my vision. As a Ben Lomond resident, I feel very fortunate to have the opportunity to create a project for the community where I live. When first conceptualizing an idea to best serve the transfer station and its users, I considered the sobering experience it can be to visit such a facility and witness the impact of human consumption. I wanted to transform this experience with a project that inspired curiosity and a sense of wonder while educating and calling to action. Humongous Fungus engages its audience from the time they pull into the gatehouse and encounter clusters of giant mushrooms that continue as they move throughout the facility. Next slide. The mushroom is the most fitting mascot for the facility that serves an identical function in our community that mushrooms serve in the natural world. As nature's recyclers, fungus breaks down waste and transforms it into viable organic material. Fungi has been touted as the future of sustainability, and research discovering species that even break down the most difficult human-produced materials to recycle. Waste management facilities perform the same function in transferring these materials, breaking them down, and transforming them for reuse. This graph shows the many parallels between the sculptural concept and the facility function. These parallels will be illustrated through educational plaques with fun fungi facts. Next slide. The public will encounter these clusters of small, medium, and large mushrooms at 3 different sites within the facility. The gatehouse and the recycling areas are 2 of the locations, and another will be located in a choice between 2 possible locations, one being the median just past the gatehouse, and the other is the lawn between the recycling area and the dumping station. Next slide. This slide shows with different types of renderings how these will appear to facility users in the prospective locations. Next slide. Dimensions provided here show the scale of the pieces in relation to human scale, which places them in positions where viewers see both the tops of the cap sculptures comparable to their own scale and those viewed from under the cap of a mushroom that towers over them. Next slide. The process of construction is one that I have worked with extensively in the past, building a strong steel armature over which various layers are created to enhance the form while adding rigidity and providing weatherproofing against all elements. I'm hiring a welder with decades of experience with structural engineering, with whom I personally worked with on other projects over the past 10 years. Artex Darren Forbes is also a local resident of Boulder Creek. The first step is to weld the frame, the second to attach mesh to define the form and give rigidity. The third step, adding resin-coated fiberglass cloth. And finally, the fourth step creates a colorful background to which reclaimed materials are added. The resin also serves as weatherproofing for more fragile materials. The first 3 steps form the structure to which visually pleasing and concept reinforcing reclaimed materials will be added to create the decorative surface, which you see here all made of reclaimed materials. Next slide. This diagram shows a cross-section of the layers as well as a structure designed to secure the sculpture safely to the ground. A series of L brackets will be welded to the form through which bolts passing into concrete will secure the sculptures against wind, tipping, and vandalism. Each concrete pad will be engineered to accommodate the height, width, and weight of each piece. Next slide. The material acquisition aspect of the project serves as an opportunity for community engagement. Involving the public in the creation of this work lends a sense of ownership of the public art. I'm working with Gray Bears to acquire a portion of the reclaimed materials directly from the facility, but other materials will be gleaned from the local community through outreach using various social media sites along with physical drop-off locations. After the CZU fire, I witnessed the important role that social media sites play in linking community members and serving in the redistribution of materials. Various free sites will be used to arrange pickups of unwanted items and highlight their use in this creative project where visitors will actually be seeing their contributions put to creative use on the surface of a public work of art. I will be creating and maintaining a website dedicated to the project, which will show the progress of the project, as well as contain all educational info accessed through QR codes engraved in the metal plaques with fun fungi facts that will accompany each of the giant mushrooms. This project is at heart experiential, creating a sense of magic and wonder for visitors at a much needed time in our history. It engages while educating and informing the public of the important function of the facility in which it's housed. It seeks to delight the senses while inspiring a sense of curiosity into the interplay of humans and their environment. It holds up the mushroom as a nature's recycler and forces us to consider the role we play in shaping a healthier and safer environment. So I'm prepared to answer any questions you guys might have.
I'd like to see if the board has any brief comments or questions.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Forgot. Supervisor Cummings?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to appreciate the artwork and the concept because it's great to see the use of reused materials in local artwork. And it's really important, especially given the role that fungi plays in decomposing natural materials and recycling those into our environment. And so just want to thank you for bringing this item forward and for the Arts Commission for recommending it. And looks like it's going to be a great project.
Thank you.
Supervisor Martinez?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm quite delighted to welcome Humongous Fungus to the Ben Lomond Transfer Station. Thank you for bringing that piece today. I was trying to imagine what it would look like when I looked at the board materials.
Smaller version. But
Yeah, it's beautiful, and I hope I can get a closer look during our intermission. And so I want to thank you for your hard work, and thanks to the staff and to the Arts Commission for bringing forward these important projects to public spaces. I think that it inspires curiosity and whimsy and joy and fun, which is what we need more of in our life. So thank you so much.
Supervisor Carnegie.
I love it. If anyone can save us, it's the fungi, as you demonstrated with the fact that they can recycle so many difficult compounds that we're creating as humans on this planet. So thank you. I really look forward to seeing this done.
Thank you. And I really love the creative reuse concept in this art. This project really puts the fun in fungi. So I'm looking forward to be put up in the park. With that, I'll bring it out to the public, see if anyone in the public would like to speak on this item. Seeing none, anybody online?
We have no speakers online, Chair.
I'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
I'll make the motion to move the action.
Second.
We have a motion from Supervisor Martinez, and we got a three-way tie for the second, but I'll go with Supervisor Cummings since he's online. If we take roll call?
Supervisor DeSerpa?
Aye.
Koenig?
Aye.
Martinez?
Aye.
Cummings?
Aye.
Hernandez?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. With that, we have a scheduled item for 10:45, which we are right almost on time, 1 minute late. Oh no, we're on time. 10:45. We are doing really good, guys. So the next agenda item is number 13. It's a scheduled item for 10:45. It's presentation of the awards to Santa Cruz County Fire Department Firefighters of the Year. And I'll turn it over to Sam Filson, Division Chief for San Mateo, Santa Cruz County CAL FIRE Unit.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, members of the board. My name is Sam Filson, Division Chief for Santa Cruz County Fire Department. With great pleasure, I join you here today to present the 2024 Firefighter of the Year Awards. The Santa Cruz County Fire Department's Volunteer Career Firefighter of the Year Awards have been presented annually for many years. We're fortunate to have many of the past recipients of this award in attendance today. This remains one of the highest honors in this field, recognizing the members of our department whose work has had a truly outstanding impact on the community and Santa Cruz County Fire Department. For Volunteer Firefighter of the Year, we present this award to Diego Turan from Company 41, Corralitos Volunteers. Diego was born and raised in Santa Cruz County, attending Aptos High School, and is currently enrolled at Cabrillo College. Diego is the youngest of 3 children of migrant parents and credits them with instilling him with his great work ethic and dedication that have helped him in life and on his career path in the fire service. Diego is extremely grateful to all that have helped him and is always excited to help with his community. Diego has helped out with not only emergency incident response, but with community events, including the National Night Out and the Prom Dress and Suit Drive. Thank you and congratulations, Diego.
With that, I present this proclamation from the Board of Supervisors to Diego Tiran Ceja. Thank you.
And for Career Firefighter of the Year, we present this award to Jonah Torres from CAL FIRE Big Creek Station, Company 37 Davenport Volunteers, and Company 32 Bonnie Doon Volunteers. Jonah was also born and raised in Santa Cruz County and attended the ARC Independent Studies for high school. Jonah's lived in Bonnie Doon for the last 15 years with his wife and 2 children. Jonah became interested in the fire service after the 2020 CZU Lightning Complex and joined Company 32 Bonnie Doon Volunteers, where he has attained the rank of engineer. Jonah also became a career firefighter with CAL FIRE and promoted to engineer under the Santa Cruz County contract in 2024. Jonah is a member of the CZU Unit Wellness Program, the CZU Unit Safety Committee, and is a member of our peer support team. Thank you and congratulations, Jonah.
So the same as well, I'd like to present this proclamation from the Santa Cruz County Board of Supervisors here to Jonah Torres. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
Both of these individuals have made an estimable contribution to our community during their time with Santa Cruz County Fire and CAL FIRE. I've had the absolute honor of working with Diego and Jonah, and I cannot be happier to see them honored here this morning, the Board of Supervisors, their family, and peers. Also this morning, I'd like to recognize a few other members of the Santa Cruz County Fire Department. Doug Almack from Company 29 South Skyline Volunteers was our top responder in 2024, answering 208 calls for service. Many members of the Santa Cruz County Fire Department have been with the department, assisting their communities for over 10 years. This morning, I'd like to recognize their contributions. From Company 37 Davenport Volunteers, Joe Paquin with 10 years of service. From Company 29 South Skyline Volunteers, Doug Almack with 10 years of service. Jeremiah Najorge with 10 years of service. Ian Kent, 15 years of service. Andy Siegel with 20 years of service. And finally, from Company 36 Loma Prieta Volunteers, Dave Choice with 10 years of service. Lance Louis with 20 years of service. Jacqueline Vizuchil with 25 years of service. Alex Lehman with 35 years of service, and Kevin Epperly with 50 years of service. I close out by saying thank you to the Board of Supervisors, the members of the Santa Cruz County Fire Department, their families, and their communities. Thank you.
And thank you. Thank you on behalf of the board to all the recipients today. With the whole group here.
Jason.
Any for volunteers? Someone? Okay.
Thank you. I'd like to see if any of the board members have any comments or Supervisor Martinez.
Yes, I just want to thank everybody in the audience for your service, and a special congratulations to those awardees and those celebrating milestones. It's very well deserved, and we appreciate all of your service. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Supervisor Cummings?
Yeah, I'll just echo those sentiments. I just want to thank our firefighters and all those folks in our community who try to not only protect the lives and the people who are within our community and their property from wildfire, but also those who try to reduce who conduct vegetation management, like our Firewise councils, who really take into account the need to try to make our fires, our communities more resilient and resistant to fires. So just want to thank everybody for their hard work and look forward to working with you all moving forward.
Anyone else with that?
Congratulations to all the firefighters honored today. One of them is special to me. I know his family from serving them during a crisis at Dominican Hospital, and I got them all hooked up. And I was at Diego's graduation from high school. Very, very proud of him. So congratulations to the Chiron family in particular.
Yes, thank you to our firefighters for everything you do. I mean, obviously fighting the flames, but also, of course, as paramedics, you're often the first medical personnel to any scene. And it's such a broad range of services that you provide our community, and we can't thank you enough. Thanks.
Thank you. With that, I'll take it out to the public, see if anyone in the public would like to comment. Seeing none, anyone online?
We have no speakers online, Chair.
I'd like to see if anyone of my colleagues entertain a motion.
Is this an action item?
Well, no, but accept the awards, I guess. No action? Oh, no action required. Moving on to item number 8. Let me go back a page here. So this is a public hearing. Keep in mind that most of these, the districts came to us for these changes and improvements. So next we hold a public hearing to consider the proposal for fiscal year 2025-2026 benefit assessment rates for County Service Area number 17, Empire Acres. Continue the public hearing to June 10th, 2025 to allow for tabulation and certification of the ballots and take the related actions. You can have community development come up and.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Board. My name is Christine Hicks. I'm the Administrative Services Manager for the Program Admin Division of Public Works, CDI. I'll be presenting the next several items being the road county service areas elections. And number 8 is indeed the county service area number 17, Empire Acres, located in Santa Cruz, consisting of 51 charged parcels, which are currently assessed at $125 per parcel. The CSA would like to raise that by $75 to a $200 per parcel per year, ongoing from fiscal year 25-26. This will increase the annual assessment by over $6,000 and for a total annual revenue of $10,200. The recommended actions.
Sorry,
by the board.
Christine, we need to stop for a second because we've lost a quorum in the room.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, over here.
Hi, Jason.
We just need to take a 5-minute break and then come back to this presentation momentarily.
Sure thing.
Okay.
Recording stopped.
Take a 5-minute break. Yeah. Three in the room. Yeah.
Hey, if we can continue the item.
All set? The recommended
recording in progress.
The recommended actions are those that Chair Hernandez had listed, being to open the public hearing now to hear any objections, to request the submittal of the ballots, and close the public comments of this hearing, and continue the public hearing to June 10th to allow time for tabulation and certification of the votes. Staff is available if you have any questions.
So this is a public hearing. I'm going to first take it out to the public, see if anyone in the public would like to address us on this item. Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board, see if there's a motion or questions.
Is there anyone online?
Oh, yes, online.
We have no speakers online.
I'll bring it back to the board now, see if we have,
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
we have a motion from Supervisor DeSerpa and a second from Supervisor Cummings. If we could take roll call vote, please.
Certainly. Supervisor Martinez.
Aye.
DeSerpa.
Aye.
Cummings.
Aye.
Koenig.
Aye.
And Hernandez.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. So the next agenda item is number 9, to hold a public hearing to consider the proposed fiscal year 2025-2026 benefit assessment rates for county service area number 25, Viewpoint Road. Continue the public hearing to June 10th, 2025 to allow the tabulation and certification of the ballots and take related actions. I'll continue with Christina Hicks from the Administrative Services.
Thank you, Chair. This CSA service area number 25 Viewpoint Road is located in Aptos, consists of 54 charged parcels, which are currently assessed $200 per year. The CSA is proposing to increase that assessment by $100 per parcel so that each will be assessed $300 annually after fiscal year 25-26, assuming the election passes. Ballots were mailed to the affected parcels on February 11th of 2025, and if passed, the election will result in an additional annual assessment of $5,400 to increase available funds for maintenance and repairs. And that would result in a total annual revenue for the CSA of $16,200. The recommended actions are as Chair Hernandez listed, and staff is available to answer any questions.
First, this is a public hearing, and I'll take it out to the public to see if anyone would like to address us on this item. Seeing none here, would anybody online?
We have no speakers online, Chair.
I'll bring it back to the board for motion.
I also move.
A second. We have a motion from Supervisor DeSerpa, a second from Hernandez. If we could take a roll call vote.
Supervisor Koenig.
Aye.
Cummings.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
DeSerpa. And Hernandez.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. With that, we have the next agenda item, number 10, to hold a public hearing, consider the proposed fiscal year 2025-2026 benefit assessment rates for county service area number 32, View Circle. Continue the public hearing to June 10th, 2025, and allow for tabulation and certification of the ballots and take all related actions.
Thank you,
Continue
Chair.
the presentation.
The county service area number 32, View Circle, is in Felton, consists of 9 charged parcels, which are currently assessed a little over $315 per parcel per year. This election will propose an increase to $600 per parcel per year to allow additional revenue for funds for maintenance and repairs. The CSA's total annual revenue would increase to $5,400 if the election passes. The ballots were mailed out on February 11th of 2025, and the recommended actions were as chair listed, and staff is available to answer any questions.
With that, this is a public hearing. I'll take it out to the public. See if anyone would like to address us on this item. Seeing none, we'll check online.
I see no speakers online, Chair.
With that, I'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
I'll move approval.
A second.
We have a motion from Supervisor Martinez and a second from Supervisor DeSerpa. If we can take, Madam Clerk, if we take roll call vote.
Supervisor Koenig.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
DeSerpa.
Aye.
Cummings.
Aye.
And Hernandez.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. And with that, this is the last item, and so it's
Number 11 and number 12.
Next item is item 11.
back a page. Got it. We got a few more to go. The next agenda item is number 11, to hold a public hearing and consider the proposed fiscal year 2025-2026 benefit assessment rates for county services area number 46, Pinecrest, and continue the public hearing to June 10th, 2025, to allow for tabulation and certification of the ballots and take related actions.
Thank you, Chair. This CSA number 46 Pinecrest is located in Boulder Creek and consists of 36 charged parcels whose current annual assessment ranges from about $30 to $574. This election proposes to increase each parcel's annual assessment from 25-26 and ongoing by $1,000 each year. This will allow the CSA to do some much needed repairs throughout the entire CSA, all the roads, and bring them up into well-maintained condition and thus eligible for public assistance should they experience further declared disasters as they did recently in the winter storms. Ballots were mailed out to the affected parcels on February 11th, 2025. And if passed, this election will increase their annual assessment by $36,000 for a total of $46,792.88 each year. The recommended actions for the board are to open the public hearing, to hear any objections, request the submittal of the ballots, close this public comments portion of the hearing, and continue the public hearing to June 10th to allow for tabulation and certification of the votes. We're available to answer any questions.
With that, I'll open the public hearing and see if anyone would like to address us on this item. Seeing none here. Anyone online?
I see no speakers online, Chair.
With that, I'll bring it back to the board for entertaining motion.
I'll move approval.
Second.
We have a motion from Supervisor Martinez and a second from Supervisor Koenig. If we could take roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Certainly. Supervisor DeSerpa.
Aye.
Cummings.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Koenig.
Aye.
And Hernandez.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Now we're on the last item. I got ahead of myself. Next item is agenda item number 12. Consider the presentation of Federal Bill HR 22S128 SAVE Act and its impact on voter eligibility and implications for the Department Administration, and take all related actions. I'll turn it over to Tricia Weber, our county clerk, for the presentation.
Thank you very much, Chair Hernandez, members of the board. I am Tricia Weber, Santa Cruz County Clerk, and with me is Rita Sanchez, the Assistant County Clerk. We're here today to talk about some federal legislation. It's two same bills, one introduced in the House, that's HR 22, the other in the U.S. Senate, that's S128, and it's known as the SAVE Act. Where do I push this one? Okay. In January 2025, these two bills were introduced by Congress. SAVE stands for Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. And then I'm also going to touch on the March 25th, 2025 executive order that was issued. That's Executive Order 14248, called Preserving and Protecting the Integrity of American Elections. The SAVE Act is aiming to address non-citizen voting, which is something that has been out and about for many, many years. The discussion that many people who are not eligible to register to vote have been indeed registering and voting. However, many studies have shown that there is not widespread fraud for registration or voting. However, the SAVE Act is specific to non-citizens because it requires proof of citizenship to be done at the time of registration. The SAVE Act will implement stricter registration requirements, such as the proof of citizenship, either through a U.S. passport, a naturalization certificate, or a birth certificate. That proof of citizenship must match your proof of identity. So it would need to match your driver's license or what other ID card you are also providing. It eliminates online and mail registrations as well as registration drives, in the fact that you can still register to vote using online or through the mail. However, your registration would be put into a pending status until you come in person to an elections office and show your proof of citizenship. With registration drives, it will allow people to do registration drives. However, the proof of citizenship must be given to the agency or the person who is conducting the registration drive, and that proof of citizenship needs to come back to the voting, to the elections office. It says the SAVE Act will disenfranchise specific demographics. One demographic would be people who have changed their name. For example, I changed my name 20 some odd years ago when I got married. My proof of citizenship with my birth certificate does not match my identity of what that is on my driver's license. And currently there is nothing in this law that says you can use a marriage certificate to show why my last name changed from Langer to Weber. It also disenfranchises people who live in rural areas because they must come in person with their registration and citizenship document. So in some counties, it could take hours, if not days, to do a round trip across the United States. With us, our county is a little bit smaller, but still it requires time. It requires the ability for you to get here during our time that we are open, which is Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And you must have the exact documentation that we need at the time. Otherwise, you need to go back. Only 58% of the citizens in the United States have U.S. passports. So not everyone will have a passport in order to show as their proof of citizenship. And with real IDs, you don't need to be a U.S. citizen in order to get a real ID. And the real ID does not show that you have proof of citizenship that has been identified at the DMV. Last, the SAVE Act does is it introduces criminal penalties for people who do these registrations, and it's personal. So I could be held liable by somebody making an accusation that I registered someone that did not show correct proof. As the registrar, that makes me very nervous, not just for myself, but we do same-day registration in California, where we put people out at voting locations, and that they would then be held personally liable if somebody felt that they did something and didn't do their due diligence to go through. Talking about the executive order, that executive order is to enhance election security. So it does have a proof of registration or citizenship on as well, but it also says it prohibits ballots being postmarked and received. State of California allows 7 days for any ballots that are postmarked on or before election day to be returned and considered timely. It authorizes a federal review of the voter registration lists. So it means that the Department of Homeland Security, the Elections Administration Commission, and other federal agencies can then come into our voter registration lists and review them and remove people without going through the due diligence of what is it that we have seen that allows people to be on our registration list. It will penalize states if the state of California does not follow exactly what the executive order is, or if Santa Cruz County doesn't follow exactly what the executive order is. We could have federal funds withheld that we do receive to help us conduct elections. The executive order was signed and it would have gone into effect within 30 days of signature of the executive order being signed. However, there are numerous lawsuits that have been placed against the executive order, so it is currently in limbo until those get resolved. And I will say that the state of California is one of the lawsuits. They joined with 17 other states on the requirements. The SAVE Act, I'm going to do that later. That's a later. Forget that I started that. So I kind of went through what the impacts were on the SAVE Act. We're going to talk specifically about that now. So it requires the voters to prove their citizenship when they are registering in person at an elections office or a designated location. It also requires voters to do the same thing if they are doing an update of information. You move. You want to change your political party. You you do a name change. You must come in every single time that occurs. As I said, it eliminates the ability to do a complete registration transaction if you are doing an online registration, a mail-in registration, or going through the DMV to do your voter registration, because you can submit the registration, but you still must come in person to an elections office in order to show your proof of citizenship. It will eliminate any addresses that updates that are done through the United States Postal Service. Right now, we get they're called NCOAs, the National Change of Address forms. That when people go in and do update their address at the post office, then we get an electronic notification that they have moved, and we too update our registrations. That will no longer occur because there can be no automatic updates. And it also creates an unfunded mandate, not only for election offices, because we have to update the entire process and procedures. We will have to go through training on how to read the appropriate documentation, know what a certified copy is from each of the states, and do all of that. But it's also an unfunded mandate for the voters, because they are now burdened with coming in person in order to do their registrations during our times that we are open. And for many people, it will be a back and forth to bring the appropriate documentation. In 2024, Santa Cruz County did 45,390 registrations, and that's from the whole calendar year. So you can see kind of how it was broken down, that the DMV, we received over 26,000 through the DMV. We got about 2,800 in the mail. Our military overseas voters, also known as UOCAVA voters, we got 385. Through the NCOA process, the National Change of Address, over 2,600. Almost 77 registrations were online and 5,500 were in person. Just breaking that down across the whole year, that goes down to 173 registrations a day. And these people would need, under the SAVE Act, to come in person in order for us to do that. Here it looks a breakdown between new registrations, which are in green, and an updated registration, which is, well, now it's orange. It was originally gold. A little shout out, my daughter's graduating from Cal Poly Pomona in May, so their colors are green and gold. But it's showing how those broke down. So of the ones that were done at the DMV, those 26,755, you can see that 4,500 of them were new registrations, and 22,000 of them were updated registrations. So I moved the in-person ones off to the side, because those are the people who actually came in to see us. So those 5,000 people came in, making the assumption that they would come in, and we would see those numbers coming in. They would be the people that took the time to come into a voting location or our office and do their registrations in person. You can see that the other group were all doing it through some other manner and not approaching the elections. So it's giving a scale of reference of how many people may possibly have been disenfranchised by not being able to not coming in person and relying through other ways. So here we are with tracking the bill. Currently, HR 22 is the one that is moving. The Senate bill is still sitting there over in their Rules Committee. So it's been introduced. It went through the Rules Committee, where it was determined that it did not need to go through any other committees, and that it could be put up for a vote on the floor of the House with 1 hour of debate. And the floor vote is imminent. We thought it was going to happen last week, but due to some other things, voting was suspended for the rest of the week, and now we're waiting. I haven't checked to see if they were talking about it right now. The assumption is it's going to pass the floor, or the U.S. House of Representatives, and will then move to the Senate, where it will start over. It'll go through the Rules Committee. It'll be determined whether or not it needs to go to any other committees or just go straight to the floor. If it passes the floor vote there, then it'll go to the president for signature. And then once it's signed, it will be enacted in 30 days. So my recommendation, my ask is that you sign on to a letter to all members of the Congress, that's both the House and the Senate, to express opposition to the proposed bills. In the packet was my proposed letter as well. And that concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do you have any comments or questions from the board? Seeing none?
Thank you for presenting this. I'd like to make a motion to approve a letter going out to all of the Congress.
Thank you. We have a motion, but we'll take it out to the public before we do that. Anyone in the public like to address us on this item? Seeing none. Anyone online?
I see no speakers online, Chair.
Supervisor Cummings, I'll bring it back to the board.
No, I just think it's appalling what the federal administration's attempting to do here with this, just given the fact that it really is going to negatively impact many people throughout the country, both, everyone from Republicans, Democrats, non-party preference. I mean, this is really going to have serious negative consequences on people's ability to vote. And so I'm glad this is going out to all the representatives, and I hope that we can encourage other community members to send letters out as well. I just have a question in terms of the Senate. How many votes would this need? Like, how close is the margin in terms of if Republicans were to vote in opposition? How many votes would we need?
I believe the number is 7. So the House requires only a simple majority, whereas the Senate requires 60% passing. So I believe the number is 7. Republicans would have to vote against it to cause it to not pass.
Thank you. Yeah, that concludes my comments. Really disappointing to see this before us, but I hope that there's some courage at our federal level to push back against this policy.
Supervisor Martinez.
Yes, I'll start off just by seconding the motion. And I also just want to thank County Clerk Weber and your team for bringing this forward, as well as your predecessor, who's now Assembly Member Gail Pellerin. You've both been advocates for the right to vote and, preserving that right. And, this move by Congress, it's just another effort to disenfranchise people, to take the voice away from folks here in our community. And I know we're committed to do anything we can at the local level to ensure that people have the right to vote. And so thank you for seeing this as the urgent matter that it is, bringing it to us so we can put our statement on it in opposition. And I appreciate your work.
Thank you.
So thank you for doing this. It's a bold action, so I really appreciate it. This is the direction that I would like to see our board go into. So thank you for that. And we do have a motion from Supervisor DeSerpa and a second from Supervisor Martinez. If we could take a roll call vote, please, Madam Clerk.
Absolutely. I'll start with Supervisor Cummings.
Aye.
Koenig.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
DeSerpa.
Aye.
And Hernandez.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. And that is the last agenda item. Next meeting is for our regular board meeting is 9 a.m. on Tuesday, April 29th. Meeting is adjourned. Record time. The other record time, earliest.
Recording.